Hello, it is Ryan, and we could all use an extra bright spot in our day, couldn't we? Just to make up for things like sitting in traffic, doing the dishes, counting your steps, you know, all the mundane stuff. That is why I'm such a big fan of Chumba Casino. Chumba Casino has all your favorite social casino-style games that you can play for free anytime, anywhere with daily bonuses. That should brighten your day a little. Actually, a lot. So sign up now at ChumbaCasino.com. That's ChumbaCasino.com.
No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. See terms and conditions. 18 plus.
It's Later with Mo Kelly, KFI AM 640 live everywhere, the iHeartRadio app and YouTube. And you definitely want to be watching our YouTube show tonight at Mr. Mo Kelly on YouTube. Why? Because that's the only way you can win tickets to Disney on Ice, which we're giving away tonight. We'll give you a second to get to the computer so you can find Later with Mo Kelly on YouTube. That is the only way you will be eligible to win tickets tonight to Disney on Ice. And I got to remind you, it's for the show tomorrow. I made a mistake. I said Honda Center. No, it's the Toyota Arena in Ontario. So if you call in and you want to win the tickets to Disney on Ice, it has to be open on your schedule tomorrow night so you can go to Ontario Toyota Arena. So that's all I'm going to say for now. You just better watch the video live stream. I mean, we're live everywhere on the iHeartRadio app and YouTube. So if you're on the go, just take us with you. Just remember that. Earlier today, I had a little chance to just watch some TV. And I opened up Netflix, and they had this documentary. And I love documentaries. If there's anything I love about streaming, it allows a lot of documentaries to be made that probably would not be made in the time before streaming. But if you get a chance, and if you're a student of history or you appreciate history, you have to see on Netflix, Oklahoma City bombing, American Terror. I'm old enough to remember when it happened, but here's the difference. In 1995, give some context, email was still relatively new and not everyone had adopted it. Cable news was still relatively new. It did not have the impact that it did today. Mo, why are you talking about that? Well, our viewpoint of what happened was more in print media and what we saw, and also broadcast news. What we saw was very limited as far as the scope, the devastation, and this documentary, the amount of footage and coverage it has is mind-blowing. You may think you remember it. You may think you may know the story. And without giving anything away, you get to see how Timothy McVeigh, were it not for some good luck on the part of law enforcement, he might have gotten away with it and gotten out of the country. Listen to this.
April 19th was a special day.
We were having breakfast, and then there was this explosion that rocked us out of our table.
The whole front of the federal building is gone, all floors to the roof.
We need all fire and ambulance and
You probably heard it and felt it, an explosion of some kind downtown.
We've never had a bomb like this in the United States.
I started screaming. People were walking like zombies.
I thought maybe I was dead, but I was buried alive.
I got up and I walked to the door. It was like snowing paper.
The men just started saying, there's another bomb, there's another bomb.
This is going to be the largest investigation in the history of the FBI.
I see that there was no license plate on the rear bumper of his vehicle. So I hit the lights and siren and pulled him over, pulling my weapon out. And he said, my weapon is loaded. Well, so is mine.
We are told that a suspect is under arrest.
McVeigh, Timothy McVeigh.
The anger is growing by the hour here in Oklahoma City.
I think they should let him loose out front and let everybody have at him.
Is he part of a bigger conspiracy?
There was a very real fear that this was just the opening salvo of something much bigger.
Am I remorseful?
No.
It features the arresting officer. If you saw that trailer, we had it on YouTube. That's another example of why you need to be watching our YouTube live stream. It features the arresting officer who originally arrested Timothy McVeigh, unrelated to the Oklahoma City bombing. It features the special agent in charge of the FBI. You get to see a lot of footage of people who were on scene, and now a woman who was buried in the rubble. She gives her account of 30 years ago. It's really, really compelling. And I'm a person, I remember the events of that day, but I didn't see all of this. And thanks to the internet, you can kind of compile all this information and all this video, which was, they actually have video from inside the building prior to the explosion, because one of the employees just happened to be going around the building talking to her coworkers. And that same woman ended up in rubble. Mark, I know, were you a reporter at that time in 95?
I was at my very first newspaper job, and there were a bunch of militias sprouting up around the country, and I was investigating one in Indiana, and it was one of the few times that I was actually concerned for my safety, because I just lived in a ground floor apartment and anybody could get to me, and I was putting their names in the paper. And it's weird you mentioned this, because just last night I watched a movie called The Order, which covers really similar territory, and it's based on true events. I'd been getting nostalgic for my childhood home in Spokane. Well, The Order was about a white supremacist Aryan terrorist group based out of, I think, Idaho, but also the opening scene is a bank robbery in Spokane. All takes place in that whole area. Very, very disturbing stuff.
If you don't know, the Oklahoma City bombing was done as a response to what happened in Waco 2 years prior on the same day.
And a lot of these people all used the Turner Diaries for inspiration.
And if you don't remember, if you weren't alive, you don't remember, there was a line in the trailer that they didn't know if this was an opening salvo of something much larger, which was true, because originally news agencies were of the opinion, and law enforcement thought that they were chasing someone who was Middle Eastern. That's what I mean by it goes back to luck. They weren't even looking for Timothy McVeigh. And if you see the fullness of the story, you realize, wow, if not for this, then that might have happened, and the whole story would have turned out completely differently. It was just compelling documentary work. And if you're a student of history, you just need to see it.
It's probably a little easier just to sit back and watch it this much later, but at the time, it was genuinely concerning and terrifying.
And this is, if you didn't pick up on it, this is the 30-year commemoration. I don't say anniversary for stuff like this. Commemoration of the events of the Oklahoma City bombing so long ago, 30 years ago, actually this week. Now, it's a multi-part documentary, so it's going to be over the course of the week of events and beyond back in 1995. But it's you have a mother who lost her child, and people don't sometimes forget they had this daycare center at the bottom of the Murrah building where, I don't know, some 70, 80 children were killed in that bombing. They have a mother of one of the children who was in the original video. You can see where she went to the hospital to find out about her child, and they're interviewing her some 30 years later. It's emotionally difficult to watch. So let me just let you know in advance. It's rough. It's really rough, but it's essential as far as American history viewing.
Oh, an absolutely horrific act of domestic terrorism.
So check out Oklahoma City Bombing American Terror. It's available right now on Netflix. And let me know what you think about it. If you've already seen it, you can let us know in the chat on our YouTube channel, or you can hit me on Instagram or Threads at Mr. Mo Kelly. We can keep the conversation going. When we come back, we're going to talk about the Redlands School District, which has now banned transgender athletes from competing in girls' sports. We'll go into that.
It is Ryan Seacrest here. There was a recent social media trend which consisted of flying on a plane with no music, no movies, no entertainment. But a better trend would be going to ChumbaCasino.com. It's like having a mini social casino in your pocket. Chumba Casino has over 100 online casino-style games, all absolutely free. It's the most fun you can have online and on a plane. So grab your free welcome bonus now at ChumbaCasino.com. Sponsored by Chumba Casino.
No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. 21 plus. Terms and conditions apply.
Next.
You're listening to Later with Mo Kelly on demand from KFI AM 640.
KFI, Mr. Mo Kelly. We're live everywhere in the iHeartRadio app and YouTube. And if you're just tuning in, just know you have to be watching the YouTube stream so you can get a clue, if you will, a password that you'll need if you want to call in and possibly win a family 4-pack to Disney on Ice presents Into the Magic. And it's going to be for tomorrow night, Thursday night. So number one, you got to be watching the YouTube stream. Number two, you got to get the password. And number three, you have to be available for Disney on Ice presents Into the Magic tomorrow night at the Toyota Arena in Ontario. Let's go to Redlands real quick. The Redlands Unified School Board passed a motion yesterday banning transgender athletes from participating in girls' sports. We've talked about this in a national sense, but now it's becoming a local issue. Listen to this.
Students just now beginning to arrive here at Redlands High School, and some of them asking us what happened at that meeting because it ran very late. Ultimately, the board did vote 3-2 to bar transgender athletes from girls' sports. And here's part of what we heard.
It's fair. It's about ensuring that our daughters who train, sacrifice, and give everything to their sport are not robbed of the opportunities. That's not discrimination. Discrimination is not letting a boy play in his sports and a girl not playing in their sport.
Instead of judging and vilifying a community you know nothing about, you need to sit with them, listen to them, stop trying to regulate and bully them out of existence. And by the way, this resolution conflicts with California law and is completely illegal.
Hundreds of people on both sides of this lined up outside that packed board meeting hoping to speak. Now, many did end up having to watch the session through a TV that was brought outside. The vote comes amidst a bigger backdrop of tense district discussions about numerous LGBTQ plus issues. Last night, the board also talked about, but did not vote on, a proposed policy that would only allow American flags on campuses, as well as proposed changes in how books are approved. For years, there's been tense debate here over having pride flags at schools and certain books. Backers of the resolution that did pass say it's about fairness in girls' sports and should stand alone. Chino Valley Unified has passed a similar measure, and this is a debate we've been seeing argued both on the state and the federal level.
Okay, there are two issues here. We're going to do them one at a time. First, transgender athletes not being allowed to play in girls' sports, and then flags. We've talked about both those issues on this show. I am unmoved in regard to transgender athletes. And this is separate from talking about the transgender community. I'm only talking about sports. I'm only talking about athletics. For me, it's a very simple discussion. I think it's a very easy discussion. It's one of those get the easy ones right. If you are going to have sports, and those high school sports are predicated on fairness and physically a level playing field, then you can't have transgender athletes playing in girls' sports. I understand that someone internally may feel that this person is going to present themselves, and I'm trying to be mindful of prepositions, present themselves in a gender sense as female. And there's a difference. There's a distinction to be made between sex and gender. Okay? I may wake up one morning and decide, hey, I want to present myself in a gender sense as a woman. That'll impact the clothes I wear. That may impact if I wear makeup. That may impact how I speak. It may I may present myself even after surgery a certain way. But that's, for me, gender, which is different from sex. I was born a male, XY chromosome. That's that. if I were to change how I present myself as a gender, I would have a physical advantage, assuming I was still in high school, over girls my same age from a testosterone standpoint. And the whole point of having boys and girls sports, the whole point is about number one, having a level playing field, pun intended, and also making sure that there is a sports offering for girls to play, be it girls soccer, be it powder puff football, be it lacrosse, depending on what school you're at, basketball, whatever sport, that there is something specifically for girls. Now, if you happen to be transgender and you want to present yourself as either female or male, that is your personal choice. God bless you. But that is fundamentally different from playing in sport. And I would like to see, and I know Jackie Ray, our regular sports commentator, as far as Beyond the Box Score, has said this, I would love to see someone who was born male, wants to transition to be female, but also plays in the male sports, because fundamentally that person may not have changed, and you're not tipping the balance as it relates to competitive sports. That's sports. Now let's talk about the flags. I too am unmoved in that debate. If you're talking about a campus, if you're talking about a classroom, and I want to make a distinction, and Twal, I do want you to weigh in on this because you work at a school, and there may be something that I have forgotten in this discussion. I am not for all sorts of flags being flown at City Hall. Why? Because it opens the door for all the flags that I don't want being flown at City Hall. In other words, I don't want to see a Black Lives Matter flag. Why? Because I don't want to see a Confederate flag. You know what I mean? And if you want to say that, well, what about the pride flag? For me, it's all the same. Have the state flag, have the American flag. You can even have your school flag if it happens to be a school campus. But I don't want any type of, and I'm not calling it a special interest, but a particular group related flag connected to a campus. Now, it gets a little bit more murky when you get in a classroom, depending on the age, depending on the school, and depending on the teacher. I would look very differently about a pride flag in a high school classroom as opposed to an elementary classroom as far as whether you're going to cover that subject matter. Twala, where do you come out on that?
If you're talking a banner or a sign in a classroom to represent something for a particular month or for a particular presentation, fine. But when it comes to flags being flown here in the United States of America, only one flag should be flown, and that is the flag of the United States of America, the Stars and Stripes. That is it. On our campus, being a campus that primarily serves children on the autism spectrum, we do not have an American flag and a flag representing autism or autism awareness flying on our campus. We have signage and we have banners in classrooms and things like that that represent our banner, our logo, and the symbol for autism as it stands now. Yes, we have that everywhere. But the only flag we fly in the middle of the campus is the American flag. And that's just how it is. Because I would personally be upset if I showed up at my daughter's school and someone said, we're going to run, say, a Confederate flag for Confederacy Month or whatever. If we're going to start opening it up to any flag, then any flag is able to be flown. And that's not where we're at. I'm sorry, that's just not where we're at. And that's where it stands.
Okay, this is where the conversation gets real uncomfortable for some, because we're going to have to go there. You mentioned signage and the distinction between signage lessons that are going to be taught and a flag, which is just going to be flown and displayed. What happens then in this hypothetical if a teacher does want to teach about the Confederacy, Civil War, or even how some states have a Confederacy a Confederacy Remembrance Day instead of an MLK Jr. Day? Some states do that. Are we saying then, in this hypothetical, can you go ahead and put the Confederate flag up as signage as a teaching tool or not?
If you are showing examples of, if you are teaching about, hell, I don't care if you are teaching about the KKK. If you need to show who the KKK was, you show what they're wearing in order for students to see, then show that. But do not get your ass on your shoulders if you also want to show examples of the Black Power movement and you want to show the Black Panthers flag in that exact same instance.
Okay, showing, not, I'll say, displaying in the sense of like walking into a classroom and this is Latino Heritage Month, which is a real thing, and they put up a signage saying all this month we are celebrating Latino Heritage Month.
You can do that. Yes, absolutely. Because if your school is open to Latino Heritage Month, if your school is open to
Women's History Month.
If you want to have a banner just with silhouettes of women, if you want to do all that, do that. Do that. If you're in the Deep South and you want to have your flag honoring, General Lee for your month, hey, you know what? Do that. My kids don't go to your school. And in an instance where my kids did go to a school where they had an issue with MLK Day, yes, as parents, we went down there and raised hell. That's our prerogative. You do what you want to do. Just be ready to deal with whatever comes from your decision at all times. At all times. I don't care who you are, what you represent. Deal with the consequences when they come from the decisions you make.
I can't argue with that. Well, someone will argue with that, but I'm saying I can't argue with that. It's Later with Mo Kelly. We're live everywhere in the iHeartRadio app and YouTube. If you're on the go, just take us with you. Don't forget, you got to watch the YouTube stream to get the keyword, the password, if you want any chance at winning our family 4-pack of Disney on Ice Into the Magic giveaway, which is going to be for tomorrow night. The tickets are going to be given away tonight. The show is tomorrow night at the Ontario Toyota Toyota Arena.
You're listening to Later with Mo Kelly on demand from KFI AM 640.
And YouTube. Don't forget, we're giving away tickets tonight, a family 4-pack to Disney on Ice presents Into the Magic. We're going to give away the tickets tonight. The show is tomorrow night, so you got to keep that in mind at the Toyota Arena in Ontario. We'll have a special password that you're supposed to know, but the only way you'll know it is by watching the video stream at youtube.com at Mr. Mo Kelly. You might as well just go ahead and subscribe. It's free, and then you get to see all the shows. They'll be archived, so if you miss something, you can go back and watch the show. You can experience the show. You get to see Mark Ronner. He has an OnlyFans page now, I'm told.
No, that's worth all the money you'll be paying for it right there.
And I just saw you got 1,000 subscribers.
Yeah. Look,
I missed it.
It's going to be a slow boil, but more and more people are finding out the tremendous work of Daniel Ferguson, who's done this for other radio personalities who you've likely heard of, who I'm not going to mention. And we're doing something. We're building something new and special, which is going to go beyond just this show. Can't tell you everything, but I know something. And you better just get on the train early. If you get on early, you don't miss anything. You won't miss these opportunities to win tickets to Disney on Ice. For example, we have some other stuff that we're working out right now. It's going to be coming down the pike, specifically for our YouTube show. Let me talk about something very quickly. And I don't want to talk about it in depth because I'm saving it for my final thought tonight. And I definitely want Mark Ronner's thoughts on this. License plate technology has helped find 2 stolen vehicles within hours. And I want to talk about this because I kind of know the lay of the land on this one. Police in Culver City, and I know Culver City well. It's a very progressive small P police department. When I say small P, in other words, they are always looking for new ways to increase and improve their policing. It's a really, really good police department. I don't have anything bad to say about it as at all. We have some former students from my Hopkido studio who are now law enforcement officers with the Culver City PD. So good things about them. But police in Culver City are crediting license plate technology for assisting in the recovery of 2 stolen vehicles in just a matter of hours. The cars involved in separate incidents were recovered Saturday afternoon when officers received real-time alerts from their automated license plate recognition system. And the first suspect was found at 6 a.m. The driver was arrested without incident. About 2 hours later, officers received another stolen vehicle notification and spotted that car near Sepulveda and Culver Boulevards. And I mention that because that is half a block from our studio. Half a block. I could walk there in 3 minutes. Stolen vehicle notification spotted the car near Sepulveda and Culver Boulevards before conducting a traffic stop on the 4300 block of Sepulveda. The driver, though, and here's what's important as well, was arrested for vehicle theft, and a passenger was also busted for drug possession. What can we glean from this? These weren't necessarily parked cars. These were cars driving through the city, and they were able to find them relatively quickly. Mark, you were a crime reporter. You know, you were embedded with police departments.
I wouldn't say embedded. They tended not to like me because I held them accountable for things and asked them questions. You got to remember, and I was in a writer's room for Law and Order, and they're talking about reporters talking to cops. Cops hate reporters, hate them. Detectives won't take a phone call from a reporter. Okay, I didn't mean to get you off track there, but just to recenter here.
My final thought tonight is going to be about unintended consequences, Fourth Amendment. I can see.
We don't have one anymore.
Well, what I'm saying, but I'm going to lay it out tonight.
Yeah.
And when we talk about buses, which can photograph your license plate and give you a ticket because you happen to be parked in that lane, the unintended consequences, I don't know if it's changed. If you're a law enforcement officer, feel free to correct me, reach out to me. But I remember from my friends who are police and sheriff, they had to give a reason and justify running someone's license plate. They couldn't just casually, oh, she's a cute woman, let me just run her license plate. There had to be some sort of justification or reason. But when you have technology like this, the unintended consequences are, well, all of our information is out there and can be accessed for any reason under any circumstances. And there are some slippery slope conversations to be had, Patriot Act adjacent conversations to be had about this automatic license plate recognition technology, how it could be used and how it could be abused.
We're down at the bottom of the slope, but there's no more slippage to be had. We are in a total surveillance state. And you might think that you like shows like MI5 or 24, where the cops or the agents or the righteous people only use that technology to bust terrible bad guys and swarthy foreign terrorists. But that technology is always guaranteed to be abused by bad guys, authoritarians, and the like.
Let me put another wrinkle in this. I told a story, I don't know, maybe 5-6 months ago, about how we were going to get our backyard done. And it was a private company. And what they do is they scan your house with a drone. So they're over your backyard, over your house, scanning your house. And so they can send you a quote for redoing your backyard, putting in sod or artificial grass, whatever. And I posed the question like, well, what about my neighbors? You know, the drone is up. It's not like it can only see my backyard. And then I thought about police departments using drones. And then you put that with the facial recognition, and you put that with the automatic license plate recognition. And then you realize you're being watched even when you don't think you're being watched. They could be looking for the stolen car and see your car parked in your driveway, which is your property.
Yeah, here's the thing. All the people who were amassing guns for decades because they wanted to be ready to respond if they were subjected to tyranny, well, they didn't notice that the Fourth Amendment just kind of gradually evaporated and barely exists anymore.
And I'm not going to say much more because I have a final thought for this, but I do know if you think that the infringement of someone else's rights won't also include you at some point, you're just not paying attention. It's later with Mo Kelly. KFI AM 640 live everywhere on YouTube.
It is Ryan Seacrest here. There was a recent social media trend which consisted of flying on a plane with no music, no movies, no entertainment. But a better trend would be going to ChumbaCasino.com. It's like having a mini social casino in your pocket. Chumba Casino has over 100 online casino-style games, all absolutely free. It's the most fun you can have online and on a plane. So grab your free welcome bonus now at ChumbaCasino.com. Sponsored by Chumba Casino.
No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. 21 plus. Terms and conditions apply.
YouTube and the iHeartRadio app.
You're listening to Later with Mo Kelly on demand from KFI AM 640.
And YouTube, and this debate is no longer debate. It's over. It is over. When I tell you about these women who were stuck in a Waymo on a very dangerous highway and locked in a car, they could not get out. And they were, at some point, they tried to contact customer service, and then the car finally released them from their hostage ordeal, and they started walking on the side of a freeway. Listen to this.
There are cars coming very rapidly behind us around the corner.
I understand, but we don't have a way to just physically move the cars.
We've given you the address twice now. Vehicle approaching. 3 minutes now. If this is going to take longer, I would like that you let us get out of the car, and we will just walk from here. Can we get out?
I have to get us an address to put in physical location.
We've given you the address. 2315 Lake Austin.
Just a moment.
Stranded. Hostages.
And I'm finding a place to get us to go.
Vehicle approaching. Vehicle approaching. I don't understand how it could take this long. It's been 5 minutes. Did you realize you got TikTok?
This is the condensed version.
Did you get TikTok playing in here?
Ava, what are you rating the Waymo right now?
1 star. What do I want to do with 0 stars?
Listen, it wasn't going to let us out until I said we're live on TikTok.
And then it was like, nope, it's unlocked.
All of a sudden it unlocked us. I'm not even kidding. It wasn't going to unlock us, and I said, I am going live on TikTok. Get us out of this Waymo. We've been in here for 5 minutes and 11 seconds waiting. I'm going live on TikTok, and all of a sudden they were like, boop, boop, doors unlocked. This is the most insane thing. We're in a Waymo here.
Under Mopac.
It was going the wrong way. We called customer support. It stopped us right here and wouldn't let us out of the car.
You can't talk to anybody and give directions.
So then we're talking to customer support, which is, who knows? We're talking to someone. We were in the car until 5 minutes and 11 seconds, and I said, I'm going live on TikTok if you don't let us out of this Waymo. It is still stuck.
It's still sitting there.
And we kept saying, hey, we're on a highway. Please, move the car. Cars kept honking at us, and it would not move. It would not let us out. No one from customer support would actually move the Waymo. So now we are walking on Mopac, and our Waymo is still there.
Swallow Sharp, I dare you to defend them.
I don't want to hear a mumbling word from these wannabe social media
Watch it
users and abusers.
Watch it now.
Look, I don't want to hear it. 65 minutes.
Such misogyny.
They were probably on their way
He's
to
a
ruin your
misogynist.
movie.
Right in the next box. He's
just
a
like the two
misogynist.
that saw that. Okay, I don't want to hear about, we were stuck in the Waymo. You want to know what we need to hear about?
What?
We need to hear about this woman who had recorded herself because an Uber driver was sexually harassing her to the point where the only reason he stopped and even had to pull over is because she pulled out her phone to call the police.
What would be the story if this Uber stopped at night?
You know what? We don't want to hear about this Uber stopping at night because you know why? There was a tourist who was shot dead when her Uber driver took a wrong turn while driving her to her location. Are we going to talk about what's really happening
here? It seems like whataboutism is his
No. What I'm saying is you are worried about the wrong thing because still, even in Texas, Uber is far less used.
Uber endorsement?
It is used far less than Waymo. Waymo is still accounting for more than 20% of all transportation in Texas. Period. Point blank. So I don't want to hear about this. I don't want to hear about this one.
Fell out the air.
This 1 5-minute delay of 2 wannabe TikTok
Do you hear the slander against Uber? You better come defend your other employer.
I don't want to even hear about it.
Stream of income. You're not an employee. I forgot.
It is absolutely ridiculous that this is where we go when it comes to Waymo.
No,
you've got one story about two women who were inconvenienced, and really, truly, I don't care about them.
Yeah, they were asking for it, weren't they? They were asking for it.
You know what?
Why
They
don't you ask
probably
what
were
color
annoying.
their skirts were?
You know what? Did you hear them? Did you hear them? Sir, we're going the wrong way. How do we know that? How do we know they're not drunk and lying? They could have been on their way to Sinopolis to ruin your movie, Mo.
Just say that. They were asking
They were on their way to ruin your movie, Mo. That's what was going on.
Have you ever seen victim shaming like this before, Mo?
Yes, I have. The last time we talked about Waymo.
I actually have. I've seen it when you guys are constantly going after Waymo unjustly for no reason, trying to undermine the very fabric of technology and progress and growth.
Show the viewers your Waymo wristwatch.
There's no such thing.
It's a Rolex.
Yeah.
There's no such thing.
Rolex.
No. I wear no jewelry. We're live. Look at my wrists. My wrists are free from bondage of your Luddite-minded, Dowdy McDownership.
Oh, you just put it in your prison wallet. That's all.
You keep
I'm gonna
pulling
start
up
calling
all
you
these
Caroline Levitt in
phony
just a moment.
stories. This is just absolute garbage. You don't want to talk about what's really happening. There's literally legislation right now to further enhance protections for people driving.
Your
in
malarkey
Uber.
is so hilarious and
They
it
are
blurred out my
driving
camera.
in Uber.
The
and
camera
that is what
can't
it
even
is.
stand what you're saying right now on YouTube.
Right now, Waymo is still the safest
You're
way
making
to go.
my camera squint.
It's the safest way to be entombed in a car.
Any car that won't let you out is a hostage situation.
The car let them out. What are we talking about? Did they die? They're okay. You know what they're doing right now? They're like, we're going to make this go viral. We're going to go viral with this story.
You know what this is like? This is when you stuck on a plane on a tarmac and they won't turn back and you're on the tarmac for like 8 hours.
This is not an 8-hour story. This is not. They were inconvenienced for 5 minutes until we put out our TikTok. We pulled out TikTok and then TikTok saved us. I don't want to hear about it.
Listen to him escalate.
Indignant.
I love the "did you die" standard for if something's wrong.
Right.
Literally, people have been stuck in elevators
has to
longer.
die to get on your radar.
People have been stuck in elevators longer. I don't want to hear about this.
People have died in
inconvenience
elevators, too.
For people who are obviously annoying and having a full-on tantrum over nothing because they want to get on this program.
We need to talk to Claudine Cooper because this is going nowhere. He's not going to acknowledge the truth. He can't handle the truth. These Waymos, I would say they have to be stopped, but they're stopping on their own.
The truth is in front of you. Waymo is expanding across the globe.
How dare those people get trapped in a Waymo? How dare them?
Oh, you act like this is a regular occurrence. Give me another story. Find something. Pull it up.
It's later with Mo Kelly. Just leave him be.
Pull it out.
You pull it up.
Ignorance is bliss. We have zero bliss. Completely blissless.
KFI.
And KOST HD2.
Los Angeles, Orange County.
Live everywhere on the iHeartRadio app.
Step into the world of power, loyalty, and luck.
I'm gonna make him an offer he can't refuse.
With family, cannolis, and spins mean everything.
Now, you wanna get mixed up in the family business.
Introducing The Godfather at ChumbaCasino.com. Test your luck in the shadowy world of The Godfather slot.
Someday, I will call upon you to do a service for me.
Play The Godfather now at ChumbaCasino.com.
Welcome to the family.